We're talking Lamar Jackson yet again, and we've got a bunch of teams reportedly out in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, one of which can't even be involved to begin with, so this report's funny. It's cute that the Dolphins are out when they can't even negotiate with Lamar. They're prohibited negotiating with Lamar. But we're going to break down all this. JCIM Mason, first in the building today. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on in. Let's go.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, good people? We're here to talk more Lamar Jackson, and we've got some updates since we were live last. Some updates on this situation. We're going to be breaking it down right now, right this very second. We got Instagram live, we got Twitter live, we got YouTube live. We're doing it live. Appreciate everybody being here. File on in, punch the like button on your way in the door, and let's get to discussing the topics at hand. Lamar Jackson was franchise tagged earlier today. Slap with the non-exclusive tag, a tag I believe to be a mistake because of the ability to command more than 2 first-round picks. However, there is something to say for the fact that there are teams that are already out immediately, teams we thought would be in play. Is there potentially less of a market for Lamar than your boy Smitty even thought? We'll find out. All it takes is one team. All it takes is one team that wants to acquire this man for what's going to constitute 2 first-round picks, which is, in my opinion, a steal. Now, granted, the problem is going to be the money. The amount of money that he's requiring and requesting is potentially going to be a roadblock for the acquiring team. Is Instagram, can you see me okay? Is everything streaming properly? I just want to make sure I'm good to go on your end. I see it like pausing on my end, so I just want to make sure I'm good to go. But we're going to discuss. Carolina is reportedly out on Lamar Jackson. The Raiders were one of our biggest potential landing spots for Lamar. How are they out? Are they really going to go Jimmy G shopping? They're not getting Aaron Rodgers. What are the Raiders thinking? This is more of a debacle than the situation to begin with in Baltimore. The Miami Dolphins, again, very cute that they think they could get in on this mix. They're prohibited from negotiating with Lamar because they don't have a first rounder in 2023. In order to negotiate and offer up an offer sheet, you must have a 2023 first round pick. So they can't even go after Lamar. So some of this reporting, I don't know that we distrust that all of it's concrete. None of it's going to change. None of it's off base. So the fact that Miami's even being talked about from big news sources, Miami Dolphins are out. They're not in. They never could be in. You need a first rounder to negotiate. So tread lightly with some of these. The Atlanta Falcons, that's depressing. This one right here, I'm really hoping this report is wrong. Where is this report? I have it somewhere right here. I think it's Diana Rossini. I respect her. I'm not suggesting that her reporting on this is wrong, but I hope her sources have it all backwards. I hope her sources are wrong. I hope they change their mind. I hope this is just weird conversation between somebody and reporter saying, well, are you going after Lamar? No, we don't have plans of that. When they don't know, they haven't even discussed it yet, and they could go after him. Who knows? Let's not close the door on all of these. We will put X's next to the teams that have reportedly been out, according to some of the reports. I don't know that it's going to end up being the case, though. And the Washington Commanders are potentially the next team that might be out on Lamar already. This is a number of teams that aren't even interested in going down the road of Lamar Jackson, which is kind of head-scratching to me. But we'll see. Maybe this plays out perfectly for the Ravens. We shall see. But it's certainly not going to put Lamar in a good mood. It's certainly creating animosity. And let's say that no good offer comes to Lamar Jackson and he goes back to the Ravens. He goes back to the Ravens on a $32 million deal. And he's disgruntled. Maybe they try and work out a long-term deal with him still. They'll have until July 15 to do so. So maybe he ends up in Baltimore at the end of the day anyway. But I do believe that we will not see every team boycott Lamar Jackson at the cost of 2 first-round picks. We haven't even had people send offers out. Here's an offer sheet. Boom. They know he wants a lot of money, but who's not going to go out and slap an offer sheet down? I'm not buying it that all of these, and again, Miami can't get involved. I'm not buying that Carolina, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Washington are actually all out. I think they were asked questions point blank. Are you going after Lamar? No. Are you going after Lamar right now? No. Are we trying to tip our hand? No, we're not. So we will have to wait and see on this and play it by ear. Here's some of the reports right here. Dolphins will not be pursuing Lamar Jackson or any other starting quarterback this offseason. Multiple team sources tell me. This is Jeff Darlington. I like Darlington sometimes, and other times I don't know. Who's telling him though? What team sources? I'm kind of tired of this sources game. Everybody's got sources now. No one takes accountability. My thinking in this industry is that if you aren't able to get someone to put their name to it, then they're probably not all that confident in the information because they're not somebody that's able to talk on it. So there's somebody that's trying to talk out the side of the conversation and they don't have full authority to even make the comment. You know what I'm saying? I get a little tired of how sources have been so accepted. Like this used to be a thing that would say, okay, until we know a source, we're not buying it. Now we buy every source's report we get. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying let's not jump to conclusions that all of these teams are out. But Jeff Darlington saying that the Dolphins are not pursuing Lamar Jackson makes me think, okay, doesn't he get, and am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but the Dolphins can't even participate in a non-exclusive tag player. They can't negotiate with them. You're required to have a first rounder. So that makes this report like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm making of that report. This one right here, is that the same report? I dragged it on my screen twice. This one right here, details on the Daniel Jones. We'll get to that. That's such a crazy situation. This one right here, the Panthers are not expected to pursue the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who's been non-franchise tagged. Sources say, again, sources. Here we go. Sources. Nobody's confident enough to put their name to it. How reliable are these? Let's stop acting like this is the end-all be-all of all these conversations. The Raiders are unlikely, according to Vinny, whatever his name is. We already know that the Falcons aren't on him either, per Diana Rossini, ESPN. Tough to say what all this means. Let's hit the chat and see what everybody's saying. We got a super chat in here. Is a $10 hauler from Heating Up Podcast. Let's hit that moonshot button for our boy Heating Up. Heating Up says, Smitty, you gotta get Giants talk in here. Fantasy outlook on Danny Dimes, Saquon after those monster deals. Wan'Dale Robinson and Daniel Bellinger, a top 10 fantasy tight end. I like Wan'Dale a little bit. We'll see how we'll see how he recovers and everything, how it all goes for this guy. I think there's upside with Wan'Dale. But Bellinger, I don't know. I'm not super sold on him. I kind of like him, but I don't know why everybody's enamored by him. It kind of reminds me when everybody was enamored by Irv Smith, or even Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's decent right now, but when everybody backed him, there was nothing really to show for yet, and everybody just kept saying, look, this is going to be amazing. Bellinger's got upside, but he's got to kind of prove it to me. As far as the Danny Dimes stuff, we're getting to that heating. That's next. We'll get to the Danny Dimes. I'll put this on the screen here for you, actually. We'll put this on the screen as the next topic. We'll say New York Giants. Okay, how's that? New York Giants, we'll get to that. Let's see. Do I have anything else relating to Lamar other than Miami, Atlanta, Carolina, Las Vegas, and Washington potentially out? Why wouldn't Seattle trade Geno, his new deal, and a first for Lamar, says Seth. Most teams, Seth, aren't going to go sign a guy to a big contract and then just trade him. I don't even know that that's ever been done unless it's been by design of some sort. Like, we're going to sign him here, trade him. It's all part of the game and in the deal. Like, you don't put your faith in someone, sign a big fat deal, and then just trade him. And not to mention who wants that contract, you know what I mean? If the Falcons stick with Ritter, you're going to rethink Pitts and London as Moonmen. No, I will not, because guess what? Everything's relative. Their ADPs will change, and we will see them get even cheaper. So when we look at this Moonmen list,
the Moonmen,
and we see Kyle Pitts on here in London, they're now value guys. These are now value guys.
Space Monsters.
And I think they both drop about a half a round. So I'm actually a little bit, equal parts upset that we don't have a big name signal caller in Atlanta. However, it's not all done yet. We don't know for sure that Atlanta won't get into this quarterback race. You know, people are going to answer questions very differently depending on the situation. And maybe they're not after him actively now, but they could be tomorrow. Or who's to say the person answered the question? I don't even know who is asked the question. Does anybody have the actual individual? Because this is being reported, but we don't know who actually was interviewed and responded. Like who said, who's the person? Per source, we don't know. So per source doesn't do it for me. I'll put them on screen like this. I'm Xing out Carolina. I'm Xing out Miami because they can't negotiate. That's the part that bothers me is like Darlington's the source here, talking about sources that are giving him the information. And he's talking about Miami as if they could even partake in a non-exclusive arrangement. They can't. They don't have a first rounder. You have to have a 2023 and a 2024 first rounder, to my knowledge, to even partake in potentially negotiating with someone that is non-exclusive franchise tagged. So the fact that we're looking at reports like Darlington's that say the Miami Dolphins will not pursue Lamar Jackson, they can't pursue Lamar Jackson. Not unless he returns to Baltimore without signing an offer sheet. And he plays him, he's on the Ravens roster. He's at the $32 million, and then they negotiate some sort of trade at that point, which could happen. But that's a totally different scenario that's a mile away, and it wouldn't be in the context of what he's saying. So I don't know how I'm taking half of these reports, to be completely honest. I just feel like it's a lot of like smoke, coming from people that are reporting on it immediately. And to their defense, to Darlington's defense, to anybody's defense, they're asked to report on this very rapidly. Like, here's the news. Everybody's racing to get it out to their Twitter and trying to figure out how to word it as quickly as they can. They don't have all the information yet. They're being told something, and they're just basically sometimes relaying that information without even sometimes looking like they know the details, like the Miami Dolphins situation. Heating up, appreciate you dropping that super chat. Looks like we got one more super chat from Silva. Silva dropping a wad on screen. Silva, appreciate you. And everybody else, hit that thumb up button on your way in the door. We get 29 thumbs up. 29 people have wiped their feet. 113 of you in the building. We're live whenever news breaks, just so you know. I'm always live when news breaks, and I'm also live Monday through Friday, which is what this show is right now. I'm live when news breaks. I'm live at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm live at midnight, which we're doing later, to do Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, match up to $100 in your first deposit. I'll drop that link in the live chat so you guys can definitely get signed up ahead of time, because if you aren't signed up ahead of time, you won't get in. We're going to be doing some live best ball drafts together on Underdog Fantasy using this promo code Smitty right here. I'm going to drop in the live stream right now. We will find out what's what, guys. I know a lot of you are thinking that this Lamar Jackson situation isn't going to change, and that he's going to have no offers. I highly doubt that's the case. I saw a report on ESPN right now that said that at least one team is being reportedly interested, and they're not disclosing what team that is. I don't know. We'll find out when. East Coast Daddy dropping an exclusive, or dropping 5 YouTube exclusive memberships. Thank you, East Coast Daddy. You're an absolute monster. Thank you so much, pal. You're a gem here on the channel, my guy. Okay, so we're gonna dig into this. We're gonna open the phone lines. Let me drop this link for Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Link has been dropped. I'm going to pin the link, so if you want to partake in the best ball drafts live with me and get into a private league on best ball with me, 11 other people and me in a private league together going the course of the whole season, you need to click that pin link and subscribe or use that promo code Smitty, which is in the link, and let's go for the Underdog drafting. Open the phone lines. Let's roll.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Okay, so we'll talk about Lamar throughout the entire show. The A-Rod situation, we're still in waiting. Sauce Gardner earlier, sent out a tweet. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, if you come to the Jets, I promise I won't pick you off in practice, and he'll even throw away this cheese head. So, they're trying to build rapport with this guy. This is what you do. You lobby to bring him in, right? You lobby to bring him in. New York Jets have flown Woody Johnson's private plane to California to meet with Aaron Rodgers, which is absolutely fantastic. That this could maybe get kickstarted, and we see Aaron Rodgers land in New York. I want Lamar or Aaron Rodgers in New York. I want Garrett Wilson to have one of these signal callers, and I really very much hope that the Jets are in the business of looking into this Lamar Jackson situation, because I think it's good for the long term. I think Lamar needs wide receivers. I think Lamar's a bust candidate in Baltimore, no matter how long he's there, no matter what they try and do. I feel like they don't enable him, and I hope that Lamar does not return to Baltimore, because he'll be in a void for me for a big part of the season. I think he could do well for about half a season. He usually does. He either gets hurt because they put too much on his plate. They don't give him wide receivers. They go run heavy, and then they rely on Lamar to run heavy. And I just think more of the same's coming if he goes back to Baltimore. So I'm really hoping it doesn't work out that way, where he doesn't get the proper offer. He doesn't get slapped an offer sheet down at his feet that he really, really likes and wants to sign. I hope to God we're looking at a guy that ends up going elsewhere and lands himself some wide receivers in 2023 for fantasy football and for NFL enjoyment, watching him play football and actually rooting for him. Because if he goes somewhere like Las Vegas or New York, I think he can succeed and do very, very well. He goes somewhere, or if he remains in Baltimore, I think he gets hurt. I don't think they support him, and that's why he hasn't had success there. And that might be why some of these teams are doubting him, because they haven't seen him succeed or stay healthy, and that might be why they're out. Also, I don't think they want to pay $200+ million in guaranteed money, which is what Lamar Jackson's requiring to sign with a team. But maybe he doesn't get near that amount. Maybe he does get 180, 190 million guaranteed. Regardless, it's going to be way above what the Ravens were offering. I fully expect a $180 to $230 million guaranteed deal. At the end of the day, 3 years from now, when the salary cap goes up another 20 to 25%, due to all the influx of money coming in with all these digital streaming deals that the NFL has with YouTube, with Amazon, it's going to be a huge salary cap in 3 years' time. So this deal that Lamar's seeking now seems big now, but in 3 years, if Lamar, let's say, played on the franchise tag for 2 consecutive years, which is very unlikely because it's more costly to franchise tag someone a second time. But let's say he did. Let's say he played on the franchise tag for 2 years. His mother, who is also his agent, he is his agent. His agent is one part Lamar, one part his mom. And we got another gifted Raphael dropping another another 5 gifted memberships to the chat. We got East Coast Tatty dropping 5. We've got thank you, East Coast Tatty, and then Raphael dropping 5. Appreciate both of you going to the moon. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I can't thank you enough. And if you got a YouTube exclusive membership and you got the green name now, you got all the emoji access, why don't you go ahead and thank Raphael and East Coast Tatty for dropping you guys those YouTube exclusive memberships. Like and subscribe, says Raphael. I appreciate that. Phone lines are open. The number's at the bottom of the screen. We got news all over the place, so I can pull it left and right because we got so much to talk about. Dial in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the situation. Where's Lamar going to go? Who's going to be in? Who's going to be out? Where's A-Rod going? Is he returning to Green Bay, or is he going to go to New York? New York has flown down to speak with him personally to try and kickstart all this and get it going, and he is dragging his feet a little bit. He kind of deserves to. He's been playing long enough to where he gets to do whatever he wants, and he's so good, people are going to wait for him. People are going to wait for him, and the Jets want him badly. I'm sure the Jets want him for at least 2 years. That might come up in the conversation when and if they do ink an agreement. And a trade ends up happening, and then Aaron Rodgers does land in a New York Jet uniform. I'm sure they want some sort of not a guarantee, but like, hey, if we're building something here with you, can you stay for 2 years at least? And maybe A-Rod's like, let's do it. My intention will be to stay with you for 2 years. That will be more attractive than Lamar Jackson. Like a 2-year window with Aaron Rodgers, I would take over Lamar. It'll also cost a lot less in the grand scheme, and you'll only probably have to surrender the 1 first-round pick. Maybe there's a second involved. Maybe it's a future first-rounder. We don't fully know what the Green Bay Packers are going to be able to get out of this situation. They're kind of put in a box because if Aaron Rodgers says, "Okay, I want to be traded," he's going to tell the Packers where he wants to go, and then the receiving team is going to have kind of like the blueprint of the trade. And so you got to think they're going to maybe push their luck a little and say, "Look, we'll take him, but we're not giving you the first rounder in 2023. We'll give you the 2024 first rounder. We'll even kick in a 3rd round pick, but we're not giving you our first round draft selection in this 2023 NFL draft, which is lying at the number 13 overall. That's just too high. I'm sorry. We're not surrendering number 13 for Aaron Rodgers. We'll see you later." They totally could do that. Now, maybe they say to themselves, why play with fire? Why not? Why are we messing around when we can get Aaron Rodgers in now? The other complication that's involved in this situation is that according to many reports and what I believe to be in Aaron Rodgers' contract, there's a problem money-wise for trading Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is traded before June 1, then the Green Bay Packers have to eat his entire 60 mil hit. I think it went from 40 to 60. And so they can spread that out over multiple years if they can trade him after June 1. And so that presents a problem for the receiving team that says, we got to wait till June 1 to get this guy. Now, what happens between May and June 1? I suppose not enough to make it a big deal and to really announce the trade in principle and to actually execute it on June 1. It's happened before, but that is one component here to consider for a team like the Jets. And maybe that does sway them a little bit to look into the Lamar Jackson situation. But I fully anticipate that with the lack of interest so far in Lamar Jackson initially, and we don't know what teams, all it takes is one team that wants to dance, and they could go straight to the ball and turn Lamar Jackson into Cinderella. All they got to do is this takes one dancing partner. And so let's not pretend like this is all dead for Lamar Jackson, because there are reportedly a few conversations that have been had where reporters asked a question, hey, what's your game plan? Can you announce it to everybody? You going after Lamar? At this moment, we don't know what we're doing. No, we have no intention of doing anything. We don't know if those are concrete answers. We don't even know where they came from, and half of these are sources of sources of sources. So we totally don't know. We totally don't know. Yeah, and Space Ricky, like I've said the last month, I think Tom Brady might be a Miami Dolphin come week 10, week 12, week 13, when Tua, unfortunately, prayers up. I'm not wishing it upon him. I wish him health. I hope he never has another concussion again. But if the Miami Dolphins actually think he's going to go through a full season and they don't back him up properly and they go with what they had, Skyler or whoever they bring in, anybody that is like a half measure, this team is going to be dialing up Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers, who we heard maybe wanted to come out of retirement last year. We just heard about that this week. But they're going to dial him up and say, hey, guess what, Tom? We got a winning team here. We got 12 wins. Tua is not coming back in, and we would like you to come quarterback us into a playoff run and win us a Super Bowl against the Niners, who refuse to bring you in. You've wanted to play for the Niners since you were a kid. They won't bring you in. Shanahan doesn't want you for whatever reason. Maybe it's too big of an ego, whatever the case may be. But you know what? We want you. You could come in and win a Super Bowl. You just got to finish a couple regular season games. We almost have a lock for a playoff spot. Jump in, Tom. Let's play. Fully think that's going to happen. And maybe the Niners get involved in that too if Brock Purdy and Trey Lance ends up not working out like Shanahan designs, because I don't have faith in that. So, yeah, Brady comes into the equation with those two teams. The Niners aren't going after Lamar. The Dolphins can't go after Lamar because the Dolphins don't have a first rounder. So we are stuck with the quarterback board here, where it's like literally we look at the teams that are reportedly out. We'll put X's over them, but I want to again emphasize we don't know if this is going to hold. Okay, so this team is out. Falcons are reportedly out. The Dolphins are out because they want to be out and because they can't even negotiate. The Panthers are supposedly out, which is crazy. The Colts, I haven't heard about the Colts. I haven't heard the Washington Commanders are reportedly out, but I haven't seen or heard that exact report or seen where it came from, if it's just sources again. The Bucks, I don't know if they're going to be interested. I have no idea. But we're running out of teams on the elite best spot for him to land board, but there are still scenarios where this guy could go, and so we'll find out. Matt says the Raiders aren't out. According to the reports, they are out, but what I'm saying is I don't think that these reports should be trusted because there's no source. But yes, they are 100% according to one source, as one of the teams listed. They are listed as one of the teams that are out. We'll see. It would be stupid to be out. It would be stupid to be out without even heading over and seeing what's what. So I forget who said that he's not out. Let me show you the report that actually shows you. This is the legitimate report here. So it says the Raiders are also unlikely, and the Falcons are not on them either. But again, these are according to sources, guys. These are according to sources. This is nothing concrete. I don't think Lamar Jackson at the end of the day is going to struggle to get an offer. That's ridiculous. If this happens, if Lamar Jackson literally gets zero interest, There's something bigger going on with Lamar that will later be revealed. Like his knee injury is still not recovered and he needs surgery. Like something like that comes out, of course, then we're like, okay, we didn't have this information, and that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to think that no one's going to come vying for Lamar's services when these teams need quarterbacks. It doesn't make any sense. And so I'm not buying the reports. I'm just not. Bruce, you're live. Sorry, Bruce. What can I do for you, pal?
Hey, Smitty. I just had my quick things where Lamar might end up going.
Okay.
Tennessee.
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 Okay.
The Bucks.
The Bucks.
And the Colts. Those are my three top choices.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Going to end up going.
I don't have Tennessee on this board, but now that we have potentially these teams out, Tennessee Titans would be an option. And Ron Navy brought them up earlier, and honestly, I didn't like the idea at all, and I didn't think that it would be a team in play. But now that we know that these teams are potentially out, the Titans do kind of make me think if they were in a potential now and rebuild mode, because that's what I was saying earlier to Ron, that I could see it if their plan was, hey, we know we're not going to win year one, but if we do even get rid of Henry, I mean, they could try and win with Henry. If they didn't trade Henry and they had Lamar, maybe, I mean, it's not that much different than Baltimore in some sense, because Baltimore's got the better defense, but they got the better running back. You know, it's just balanced differently, but both teams have problems, major voids. Imagine if they didn't trade A.J. Brown. Imagine if they just tried to build and get the quarterback in there that was needed, and they built around this. Tennessee was a potential division winner, you know, with Tannehill. They were a division. They were playing that well. Like, and then they get rid of A.J. Brown the next year. It was really, really head scratching. But maybe they bring in somebody. I don't know. Maybe they bring in Juju. Maybe they try and figure out a way to keep Henry, because he's not going to get you that much anyway. And you bring in Lamar. It's possible. But I think the Colts would be a very interesting landing spot, you know, at the end of the day with JT, and they build the offense around them. They don't really have much going on anyway, right? They're bringing in new staff. They're bringing in new, like, they can start scratch around Lamar. Lamar's learning a new offense no matter what. He goes back to Baltimore. He's learning a new offense led by Munkin, and that's a whole new change anyway. So wherever he's going, he's learning a new offense. It's not that different to him to go from one place to another. I think the Colts are a strong player. And the Colts, you know, think about what the Colts have been through. Okay, they've been through a lot, and they've been through bad quarterback trial and error runs with Wentz and with Matt Ryan, and they probably are one of the more desperate teams to go all in. So it really does make some sense. The Colts are a late entry favorite at this point now. You know, the Colts, the Bucks, and the Titans I got to put on the board as well. I agree. But crazy, bro. Crazy that we're here. Crazy that we're talking about teams being out already without even discussing and dropping offer sheets. It's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling
I
to
would
me.
only drop, if I was all the other teams, only if I had a top 5 to 10 quarterback would I drop out. Like, if I had a Mahomes, you think I'm going to go talk to Lamar?
Yeah. Those teams aren't, but like to literally be like, yeah, Carolina Panthers, we're going to go ahead and pass. What are you doing? Why would you, like, honestly, bro, if I'm wrong on all this, because I've been kind of ranting and raving all morning saying that Lamar's going to get this. This is crazy. They should have franchise tagged him. Let's pretend we're in Bizarro World. And I'm apologizing, and I say, you know what? For all the people that I said Lamar's gonna get this, the Ravens are ridiculous for doing this. If he literally doesn't get an offer, and I don't think this is gonna happen. I think this is early knee-jerk reporting by sources everywhere. We have no confirmation of any sort at all. But if I'm wrong on this, I'm going to be baffled. If that's how much this would shock me. I don't think it's going to play out this way, but if, let's say, he has no market, I will be baffled. I will be speechless. I will be completely shocked. there's going to be 2-3 teams. Maybe they won't be the teams I initially thought would be the teams, but as you said, Indianapolis, Tennessee, maybe they're different teams, but they're still going to be in a position to give him the money he's commanding, because the money he's commanding will be chump change in 2 years' time. And the Colts, if the Colts get in a bidding war with Tennessee in terms of this offer sheet race, then one of these teams is going to offer a big amount to make sure they win. It's kind of like you're doing a blind bid waiver wire, right? And you've got $100 to spend all year. You come to me and you say, Smitty, I want this Kadarius Toney kid. And we're talking about, what week was that? Week 7, week 8, week 9, whatever it was. Kadarius Toney is one of the best ads in fantasy football, and he laid a dud game the next game. But everybody came in saying, Smitty, do I do a full load drop?
Initiate full load drop.
Do I do a full load drop, Smitty? And there's times where you do a full load drop because of the need that you have, the competition for the player. So is there a world where I could see two teams fighting, and one of them saying, I'm going to slap 220 down, and the other team drops 180? And they're like, oh, God, I could have went 200. But at the same time, Lamar's got to accept it. Doesn't matter. It's not about who offers the best offer sheet, and then Lamar just takes it. Lamar's going to say no. To 180 guaranteed? No. 180 guaranteed? No. Look at Danny Dimes' contract right here.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. I got it right here somewhere. Danny Dimes' contract is crazy. And it's going to lead to a big Lamar Jackson deal. So let me see if I can pull up Danny Dimes' deal here. There's some clarification on the money. Here it is. I think I might have it on screen. If I don't, I think this is it right here. So this is Danny Dimes' deal, okay? This is crazy. This sets the market for Lamar. Now, even though Lamar's going to get way more, this sets the market for it. It's a baseline. It's a low baseline. 4 years, $160, $35 million more in incentives, $82 million over the first 2 years, $94 million virtually guaranteed at signing. So if he can get $94 million guaranteed at signing, Daniel Jones of the New York Giants, if he can get $94 million guaranteed at signing, offering Lamar $130, I believe is what the Ravens were at, because they were $100 million apart. Lamar wants $230 guaranteed. They reportedly offered him something along the lines of $130 to $150 guaranteed, reportedly from the sources. And so you think he's not getting way more than Daniel Jones? The market's the market. This right here tells me he's getting 180 to 200 million guaranteed. It would be crazy if he got less than 150 or 180 and got like 150 guaranteed comparatively to 94 million virtually guaranteed.
People laugh. I was actually upset the Giants signed Daniel Jones because I wanted him, and it might have been bad for fantasy, but I wanted him to pursue Lamar and keep Barkley.
Well, now you got Barkley and Danny Dimes. Assuming everything went well with the Lamar Jackson franchise tag, we've gotten like some tweets that said like, here's more on the franchise tagging of Barkley and the signing of Daniel Jones. But like, I still wonder if they got it in on time. I wonder if there's some kind of back end discussion going on, because it sounded like it was right down to the wire.
The clock.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy when you think about how close I think this may have come down to it for getting the Barkley franchise tag in time. This will be interesting if something comes back on that. But it sounds like the franchise tag was applied, and Barkley is remaining in New York. And so we'll go to the New York topic right here. Barkley in New York is good. Barkley in New York, we know what we're getting. Barkley in New York is a workhorse. Barkley in New York does have some kind of vulturing threat to his workload, given that Danny Dimes runs a lot. But the way they ran their offense, the way they leaned on Barkley, you could almost look at Danny Dimes as a change of pace back for Barkley, in the sense that you don't want Barkley running 30 times a game. So Danny Dimes and Barkley kind of, share this role in a way. And Barkley's so elusive and electric, and he's such a good running back. And his first year was a concern. His second year back from the ACL injury, obviously was able to ball out. And I have full confidence that he'll look the part, and hopefully he stays healthy. But I mean, this is a good situation. Did we kind of want to see Barkley hit free agency because his choosing would have likely landed him in Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Kansas City, maybe even, we don't know. We don't know where he would have went. Philly would have been crazy. The Bengals, the Bills, like there's so many different landing spots he could have went, and he probably would have went to one of those locations, almost certainly, right? Because he got control. He would have been a free agent. He wouldn't have gone somewhere where he wasn't going to win a championship or something. So he would have got money. He would have got landing spot. He would have been a gem. He's still a gem, but he's a controlled gem. He's got a little bit of limitations in different areas of his game because of Danny Dimes, who may continue to shock us. Maybe he turns into the next Josh Allen. I don't know, because Daboll's that good. He did it with Josh Allen, but I saw that one coming. I didn't really see this one coming, so I don't know how I feel about Danny Dimes. But Danny Dimes isn't worth $94 million virtually guaranteed at signing. That's crazy money for a guy that we all kind of wrote off and said, well, Daboll's coming in. He's so good with quarterbacks. We all kind of knew this could happen. We said to ourselves, Daboll, what he did with Josh Allen, maybe he does it with Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it really evolving to the degree that it did. So hats off to Daboll, hats off to Danny Dimes, flowers to Danny Dimes. Let's give Danny Dimes the respect he deserves, and Smitty approve him. But I don't know that I think this contract is a good move, and I'm going to suggest that it is a bad market-setting benchmark for the quarterbacks to follow. And it's like, what have we learned so far? Progressive numbers, right, Bruce? What do we see?
Yep.
We've seen these numbers climb every time. We just saw.
And they do every year.
Yeah, and so now Danny Dimes, of the quarterbacks that have signed so far, Derek Carr, Danny Dimes, progressively getting more and more guaranteed money. We are inching toward the Deshaun Watson contract values. We'll be there before you know it. And if for any reason Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow signs a deal before this Lamar Jackson situation fully unfolds, they have until July 15 for this to all get wrapped up. But if Lamar Jackson doesn't sign an offer sheet, if he doesn't get a deal he deems to be amazing, guess what happens to Lamar? He goes back to Baltimore on a $32 million tag. He has until July 15th to sign it, it doesn't matter if he signs it or not. I don't even know if he has to physically actually sign anything. On July 15th, that's his deal. He doesn't get to say no. He doesn't get to, if he literally holds out, that's a contract. He's getting that $32 million deal, whether he likes it or not. It's a required tag that gets slapped on a player. That's why it's called the prison tag to players. Players call it the prison tag because the team controls you. You don't get a say. You got to say during the offer sheet process, you had a way out if you wanted to sign a big fat contract. But if he didn't sign a deal, if everybody brings lowball offers to him, he doesn't sign an offer sheet and says, forget it, I'll play at $32 million in Baltimore. So he goes back to Baltimore, and if he's unhappy and wants to hold out, he can hold out like Lev Bell did. But guess what? He gets fined. He gets fined. Why? Because he's under contract for the $32 million. Whether he wants to be or not, he doesn't get a say. And so if he wants to hold out, he's going to get fined. If he wants to hold out, doesn't change anything. The odds are, I believe they even retain the franchise tag rights for the next year. It's not like I don't think he just becomes a free agent. It's that the team probably won't retain him another year to let him hold out and waste time again another year. So that's kind of the way that the direction that these things go. So Danny Dimes is setting the tone. $160 million deal, $94 million virtually guaranteed at signing. Lamar Jackson's getting well over $150 guaranteed. And if he doesn't, I will be so shocked. I will be so shocked. Steven, are you on the phone here, pal? Steven, are you here? Steven, calling again. I thought I added you. I don't know what happened there. Chiefs will have to give Mahomes a team ownership stake on the next contract. But Saquon said that he would give the Giants a discount on signing him to a long-term deal in New York. Yeah, I mean, that might be the case now. Here's the thing in the case of Saquon. Saquon wanted to hit free agency and get his big payday. Now that he's being forced to play on the $10 million franchise tag, which is a handsome amount for a running back, let's just be honest, but it puts him in a volatile situation because if he goes out and gets injured, he's not likely getting the bag. And so his agent is going to say, look, you were smart to sit back and not sign a deal until you were tagged and hoping you hit free agency because Danny Dimes didn't sign a deal in time. Danny Dimes did sign a deal in time. Danny Dimes signed his deal in the 11th hour or the last hour, and then Saquon Barkley got franchise tagged. And so now he's playing for 10 mil. The tables have turned. The game has changed, and now Barkley's going to be set up in a position where he's got to say, okay, now I'm going to be a year older next year. What if I get injured? I already had a big major knee injury. What if I get injured? I wanted 15 to 17 mil a year. Hitting free agency, I probably would have got it. Now that I've been tagged and I'm going to be a year older, am I smarter to take 14.2 a year? Maybe I can ask for a little bit more upfront money or do some sort of alteration that doesn't affect the long term. It's very team friendly. Barkley probably inks a long-term deal. That's what the franchise tag is initially designed to do. Hold the player in place to extend contract talks, and it's become a whole prison tag thing to players where it's become a big sense of a team is using extreme force to do what they want to control. DJ got a lot.
So now you got
what?
So now you got Jacobs and Barkley in the point of we can't get hurt. We have to produce to get our big contracts.
Yeah, Jacobs might be apt to ink a long-term deal. Part of me feels like Jacobs' personality type, given that he probably hates Las Vegas. Given that I could see that. I feel that he feels that, like you could see it all over his face. He might bank on himself. He was the league's leading rusher, and that probably injected a little bit of confidence, as it should, into his game and his ability to do it again and repeat it. We both know it's really hard to do, and Jacobs could get injured and really kind of screw himself. But at the same time, I don't blame a player for banking on themselves. Would I bet on myself? I would. If I was a 25, 26, 24-year-old player, and you told me, hey, Smitty, 27's the new 30, like I always run my mouth on, you know what I'd say to somebody like me? Watch me. So, like, as much as I talk about 27 being the new 30, bro, I would say it to my own face. I would say, you're talking about the average bear, bro. I'm going to go out there and show you that 27's the new 25. And I'm going to go out there and prove that I'm different than everybody else. I don't care what your averages say. So if I was Jacobs, honestly, even though if I was his agent, I'd recommend that he sign a deal similar to Barkley. Get that money now, because you're only gonna play football so long, bro. And while fit is important, happiness is important, you might have a 2-3 shelf life window left, and you can get 35 million guaranteed, whatever the contract would be, versus 10. I'm gonna say take it, big boy. I'm going to say take it. But if I was Jacobs and I just was the leading rusher, I'd probably say I'm banking on myself, baby, and I'm going to go out there and do it again. And he could get franchise tagged again. Running backs are the one player that probably have the most likelihood of getting tagged twice in a row. I don't think he would. It's very unlikely in general. But LaBelle was tagged twice in a row. That's what created a lot of animosity there and why he held out. And it's very, very possible that, he could find himself in the same situation next year. Just because you got tagged 1 year doesn't mean you're free to go the next year. They can tag you again. It comes at a cost of 120% the previous salary from the year prior tag. So it's a very costly proposition. But for running backs, that's not that big of an increase. 10 mil, what's he going to pay? 12 mil the next year? Not that big of a deal. So he's not like just completely free after this franchise tag year. So he's got to think about all that. So does Barkley. They got to think about the longevity of the running back, the shelf life of the running back, and how one ACL injury, one very bad knee injury puts you off, getting the big contract the next year. Jacobs got the...
And hopefully...
Yeah, this is what Hod said, and this is the truth of the matter. As much as you want to bank on yourself, Hod's correct. Jacobs got 400 plus carries. He probably can't do that back-to-back years. The body breaks down. There's usually turnover in the top 5 for that very reason. The mileage is crazy for RBs. They take such abuse. and they get paid so little. It's really kind of a messed up situation. Dial in if you guys want to be in. Bruce, what else you got, Bruce?
I was just talking about the running backs. I was hoping, like you were saying about banking on ourselves, I hope Pollard banks on himself, and this is the last year of Zeke being there with him, and he takes the full-time load.
Well, I think he takes essentially the full-time load as much as you want him to take the full-time load at his size and stature. He's very much an Alvin Kamara stature type of running back. He's a guy that you don't want running for 1,500 yards. You want him running for 1,000 even, 1,100 maybe max. And you want him to get 500 to 700 yards receiving. You want him to get you 10 to 13 touchdowns and 60 plus receptions, as high as you want to go. The sky's the limit for him to pull in passes if they want to throw it to him. But Pollard is in a good situation, and I honestly don't think his workload will change much from 2023 to 2024 because they're going to dial back Zeke. He's a shell of himself. Every year, every week that goes by, he's literally breaking down because his mileage is through the roof. And a lot of Zeke believers are going to come in and say, Zeke's going to be fine. I'll draft him in the 5th round. We're good. You go ahead. We'll watch you. We'll wave. We'll wave as we run on by when we get on our horse, and our horse being Tony Pollard, who's going straight to the moon.
To the moon.
Tony Pollard's franchise tagged at $10 million, and I think he's pretty satisfied being in his normal spot where he's produced and done well. He's coming off an injury, and I can tell you right now, when players come off an injury, like a season-ending injury, they've broken fibula, whether it's an ACL, especially if it's an ACL or something like that, changing situations on top of rehab is very, very hard. Learning a new system, trying to get healthy, and changing locations is even harder. So I think Pollard's best move, regardless, was to stay put, whether it was a franchise tag, which happened, or he ends up getting a long-term deal and he stays put because he can focus on his recovery and staying put in a system we know works really well for him. However, McCarthy's calling plays now. This could potentially be a different offense. We hope it's not too hampered by the switch from Moore to McCarthy, but we'll find out. All I know is that we've seen Pollard have very, very good success in this offense. And I'd rather have Zeke return because guess what? People devalue Pollard a little more when they hear Zeke's getting restructured. Oh my God, this is like Melvin Gordon. And that's going to help us in fantasy worlds. We're going to see Pollard either stay exactly where he is. He'll get a little bump because of the franchise tag. Oh, they're paying him $10 million. They franchise tagged him. They don't want to let him go. He's going to have a great year. But the moment Zeke, if he does, he might get released. But if he does sign an extension, everyone's going to freak out a little bit, and it's going to bump him back down to normal. Now, if Zeke gets released, people are going to soar Pollard's ADP up about a round or a round and a half. And we'll see that on Underdog Fantasy maybe tonight where Pollard goes a little too high. Make sure you've clicked the link in the live chat and in the description. It's Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. The link that I dropped and pinned in the live chat will link the promo code for you. Underdog will match up to $100 in your first deposit. We're going to be jumping on Underdog Drafts live tonight at midnight, maybe 12:30 p.m. Eastern, midnight, to do live best ball drafts, and we're going to see where these guys are going. We'll see where Lamar's going. We'll see where Pollard's going. We'll see where Danny Dimes is going. When people are in the news, they tend to get drafted a little higher. It's just the way human beings work. But I'm telling you, they're going to freak out if Zeke is restructured, and people are going to evaluate the situation if Zeke gets released, and not consider that now the Cowboys are going to bring in a young Bigsby or a guy that's 10 times Pollard. And we don't want a young, fresh rookie sitting behind Tony Pollard. We want Zeke there. And people don't realize what they want, but that's what you want. That's what you want.
Another one or two-parter. If Lamar goes to the Colts or the Titans, how much value does that give Treylon Burks and Michael Pittman? Like, how much higher do you think they would go?
Extreme amount of value bump because, I mean, right now they got nobody. So right now we're like, okay, where do we draft Pittman? Where do we draft Burks? I don't even target Burks at all. But if Burks gets Lamar, it's a really good situation for Burks, and I don't know that I love Lamar's Like, here's the thing. If you ask me, Smitty, you said that if Lamar went to Atlanta, you'd be all in on Lamar. And I would be. If Lamar stays in Baltimore, I consider him a very big bust candidate like I have the last 3 seasons, and he's proven me right. If he goes to Tennessee, I don't see much of a difference in Lamar's stat lines or his likelihood to stay healthy. Maybe a little bit more likely to stay healthy if they keep Derrick Henry. If they trade away Derrick Henry, what are we doing? And I don't even like him more than I liked him in Baltimore. If he goes to Indy, I'm a little intrigued. I don't know that he reaches Fields or Trevor Lawrence height in terms of like consistent value in fantasy, but he certainly is a potential winning quarterback there in a year's time. Give Indy a little time to, I think, instill their offense and their staff and figure out how they want to build around Lamar. Because let's be honest, one reason you're probably seeing a struggle for Lamar finding an immediate interest is that, and maybe we should have talked about this before he was tagged, is he's not an easy player to plug and play. Like, this is a very different player. You literally are committing to a new offense when you have Lamar Jackson come in. You either have an offense that's already built kind of like it, or, you know, it's easy to tweak, but it's not a plug and play type of situation. You're literally committing to running an offense a certain way because he's a certain unique quarterback. So if Lamar was going to Atlanta, then, let's see, if Lamar goes to Atlanta, I'm drafting Pitts much higher. Are you kidding me, says D-Class. I don't know who's saying something negative about Pitts if Lamar's there. If Lamar's there, it's to the moon. It's London to the moon, Pitts to the moon, Lamar to the moon. But since the Atlanta Falcons appeared...
Too.
Who? Algier? Yeah, Algier. It sounds like the Atlanta Falcons are out, which is head-scratching to me because they were interested in Watson running quarterback. I don't know why they wouldn't be interested in Lamar Jackson, and they've got pieces in place to really compete. In Indy, I don't know that he's in my top 5 or 6. I kind of feel like Atlanta, Las Vegas, Miami. Miami can't even be involved until later on. If this goes back to the Baltimore Ravens, there's no offer sheet, and they franchise tag him at they pay him the $32 million on the tag because no offer sheets came in that Lamar liked. Then they can maybe work out a trade with Miami. But if he doesn't go to Miami, he doesn't go to Atlanta, he doesn't go to like even Washington would be interesting. He's got 2 very good receivers there, you know, Dotson and McLaurin. I'd really wouldn't mind that. If he doesn't go to Miami, Atlanta, Washington, or Las Vegas, I don't think I feel like Lamar's that much better off, and in some cases not at all, than Baltimore. And Baltimore is where I have him as a bust. So as I said yesterday, situation's everything, guys. It is everything. And right now I'm not feeling like Lamar's... I don't think he's out on some of these locations, but if we take some of these reports seriously, or all of them seriously, where is he going? Where is he going? Tennessee's not a great landing spot fantasy-wise. It's not. They have to keep Derrick Henry if they do that. I just don't know that they're going to. I don't think Tennessee's in the business of like, why would they have got rid of AJ? If they're in the business of trying to win a championship right now, why are they talking about trading Henry? Why did they trade away AJ Brown? Doesn't make sense to me, but who knows? Baltimore will bring in Mariota. If they let Lamar go, that would be awful. Tennessee would be a great fit, says distinguished gentleman. Okay, so let me clarify. I'm not saying it's not a good fit. I'm saying I don't love him more in fantasy. Do I think he could win games if Derrick Henry stayed? It's not bad. It's not bad. Tennessee's not a horrible landing spot, but it's not a huge fantasy football goldmine. And I don't know. I don't love it. Indy would be interesting. I would like Indy way more than I would like Tennessee. I could almost get behind the Indy thing, but I just, because we don't know what that team's even, like how they're even constructing this offense and the kind of debacle situation that happened last year. I mean, we all love Saturday. He was a good guy. He's amazing, amazing at giving speeches. We all got kind of excited for him and we're rooting for him, but it didn't work out well. And they just kind of had a dead year, right? And so we're walking into this season totally unknowns, you know. And so it'll be interesting. Tennessee, I don't like. Indy, I kind of like. I love Carolina. I love Las Vegas. I love Miami later on. Again, they can't partake right now. Atlanta, I love. Washington, I don't know if I love it, but I like it. But as of right now, it sounds like Indy and the Jets I love too. We haven't got back to the Jets. If it goes to the Jets, Super Bowl contenders, bro. Super Bowl contenders. Lamar Jackson, top 5 fantasy football quarterback. The Jets are still in play. Until we hear they're not. And even if we hear they're not, what source told us that? JT at 2.3 says Space Ricky. Maybe Washington for Lamar. Right here, bro. According to the reports, Washington's out. These teams on screen with the X's are reportedly out. Again, take it with a grain of salt. Dial into the show. You got the Bruce on the line. Your boy Smitty answering phone calls. We'll be here for another, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I think. And then we potentially may go longer depending on the phone line and how many people we get on it and all that. But we got 166 of you in the room. Please hit that thumb up button. We've been live on this stuff for the last 48 hours, just like monsters. We've been live streaming like 12 hours out of the last 50 hours we've been live. Just breaking this down. I'm live whenever news breaks. Make sure you're following me and subscribe to the channel if you stumbled upon this live stream, because I'm live whenever news breaks, breaking down every single piece of NFL news from a fantasy perspective and an NFL perspective. We're not just a fantasy show. This is a news show. I take a lot of pride in this being a all-encompassing NFL show that even if you didn't play fantasy, you'd be like, I love this show. This show is every day. This guy goes live every single day. This guy goes live multiple times a day. I love it. Subscribe me up. So hit that subscribe button, and we're live at midnight, pretty much every other night doing live drafts. So hit that live chat link, underdog promo code Smitty. It's pinned. It's in the description as well if you're watching the replay of this video. And get signed up early because you won't get a draft slot if you don't sign up right now. You won't get a draft slot if you don't sign up right now because they go fast. You won't have time to sign up. We're going to get in there at midnight. I'm going to say click this room. Everybody jump in. We'll have 2-3 spots waiting. 2 spots, 1 spot filled. It goes quick. Well, what's up, Bruce?
I said everyone likes I've been watching a little bit, and I've been watching you. Everyone likes Rodgers better in the Jets, and I like Lamar better for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, if A-Rod committed to 2 years, I would take A-Rod over Lamar. I would take A-Rod over Carr. Carr's obviously not in play anymore, but I'm just saying, when push came to shove, it was the 1 year that bothers me about Lamar versus Carr, or A-Rod versus Carr, or A-Rod versus Lamar. But if A-Rod verbally committed, I know he could do whatever he wants, but if he verbally committed to 2 years, I'd rather have A-Rod for 2 years than Lamar or Carr for longer. I feel like it's a championship. In 2 years, maybe not year one, but in 2 years, you could literally win a championship. Look, defense wins championships. You hear it all the time. You put this number one defense with Aaron Rodgers, with Garrett Wilson, with Elijah Moore, with Breece Hall, with Sauce Gardner in the defense. I love that people think that the Jets winning the Super Bowl is a joke with Aaron Rodgers. I love that people think it's silly. Good, watch it. Just like all the people that doubted the Bengals, all the people that doubted Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I love it. I love that people still doubt the Eagles. I love that people say, hey, the Eagles lost. They lost in the final drive of one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen on a questionable situation, regardless of what side you are on. The Eagles absolutely had a phenomenal year, and no one's crying, and you can't laugh, especially if you're the fan of another team that wasn't even involved in the Super Bowl. There's no room to laugh and say, oh, cry, Eagles, cry, when they literally made it to the final play, and Jalen Hurts proved all the doubters wrong. I don't even know why I got on that topic, but I'm passionate about defending situations that need defending, and the Eagle fans and the Eagles need defending. Now, the Eagle fans are another thing. Those guys get a little riled up and wild, and they deserve a little bit of criticism for the way they sometimes behave. But in general, the TV-watching Eagle fans, the civilized group, and then the team itself, and especially Jalen Hurts, I come in to defend those that need defending. Aaron Rodgers is a choke artist. Jets can't win with him. Bro, there are so many quarterbacks that will go down in history as one of the best signal callers to ever play the game, like Dan Marino that didn't win a Super Bowl. You know, running back like Barry Sanders didn't win a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers just won a Super Bowl. Let's not act like Aaron Rodgers. Let's not act like it's really easy to win a Super Bowl, number one, and let's not act like Rodgers didn't do it. And let's not act like Rodgers isn't one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, that has, kind of like Lamar in Baltimore, not fully been set up in Green Bay properly. He hasn't even he hasn't been involved in discussions until the last 2 years about who they're going to draft. They don't even involve him. They don't even say, hey, do you want a wide receiver? And they skip over wide receivers. Aaron Rodgers is winning a Super Bowl in New York in 2 years' time if he stays for a full 2 years. I really believe it's going to be something where all the doubters are missing after that happens. No one's going to circle. Where are the Eagle haters? Where are the people that said Jalen Hurts was going to bust? Have we ever seen someone come into this live stream and say, hey, I was wrong about Jalen Hurts, Smitty. I told you he was going to be a bust. Never. No one's ever come and owned up to their negative comment against Jalen Hurts. Nobody. Nobody showed up. Why, again, I say, would he go where Joe Flacco is? Who, Kenneth? Who's Joe Flacco intimidating? I've never heard that before in my life. Oh, God, he wouldn't go where Joe Flacco is. Joe Flacco's going to steal all the sunshine because he's so tall he's going to block the sun. Aaron Rodgers getting at least one more. That's right, DJ. Can't trust A-Rod, why bother, says Jimmy. Entire NFC East has terrible fans, says Hod. Texas raising their hand, saying rings. Flacco is a wacko, says Space Ricky. Class, D-Class, David says D-Class, hoping it stays quiet on the phone line, says David. I think you're referring to Steven. I think you're referring. Hey, David. I've been lifting. This gun isn't quite defined yet, David, but I've been lifting. I've been working hard. I've been fasting. I think I look a little bit slender, a little bit more slender, David. I'm not quite where I need to be, but we're on our way to the 200-pound beast of a man named Smitty. We're trying to get there. I'm almost there, David. David always he's my virtual trainer, at least in the chat, the live chat. David's always pushing me. What's up, Bruce? What else can I do for you?
Hey, I don't know. I left the voicemail earlier. I didn't know if you played it, but you were talking about Nick Chubb getting traded. What's the best place he can get traded to, fantasy-wise and reality-wise, for Chubb? What's the best landing spot for fantasy and for him?
I don't think a team trades for him. That's a lot to. I mean, maybe. I guess it's possible. I mean, the same places we want Barkley to go to if Barkley hit free agency. Before he got tagged. Okay. So it's like it's Philly, Cincy. It's a team that says we got to do something. We just let the KC Chiefs walk all over everybody, and Mahomes is banged up. We need to bring in a difference maker. We need to go get Derrick Henry. Maybe Derrick Henry is acquired for a second-round pick by, I don't know, the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills say, whoa, or the Bengals say, whoa. Mixon's off doing his own thing, his extracurricular activities. We need to bring in another running back. Mixon's kind of tied up right now. So we're going to go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and trade for Nick Chubb. And then now you got Nick Chubb in Cincy. You've got, all those things are possible. And I guess at the end of the day, you got to look at it like this. If Christian McCaffrey cost a second, a third, and a fourth, didn't even have to give up a first-round pick for Christian McCaffrey. What was the NFL doing? What was every team in the NFL doing? Sleeping at the wheel when Christian McCaffrey could be had for a second, a third, and a fourth-round pick. Why would the Bengals not want to bring in Christian McCaffrey for a second, a third, or fourth round pick? Why would the Bills not want to bring him in? Why would the Eagles not want to bring him in? It's insane that a team got away with giving a second, a third, and a fourth round pick. It was highway robbery. And so you got to ask yourself, is Nick Chubb going to go for more than Christian McCaffrey? Probably not. Maybe he costs a 2/3. Maybe you give up 2 third-rounders. Maybe you give up 1 second-rounder. Maybe a second and a fourth. And you could get Nick Chubb on your roster for 1 more year. Now, granted, Nick Chubb and Henry and Eckler all concern me from a fantasy football perspective. There's a big difference between NFL belief and fantasy football cost of entry and smart drafting as an owner. So I want people to totally understand that. Would I acquire Derrick Henry Henry's 29 years old? What do I think he's going to do? What's the probability of him having a 17-game fantasy season? Versus an NFL perspective of saying, let's bring this monster in. And he might miss 4 games, 5 games. As long as we get lucky, he's there for the playoffs. He's there a little bit in between, whatever. If Derrick Henry can play in the playoffs, if Derrick Henry can play down the stretch when winning matters to grab a hold of David, try calling in one more time. I would trade a second-round pick in a heartbeat for a guy I believe at 29 years old could have a drop-off year. I would trade for Nick Chubb in a heartbeat, who I am very concerned about his knee issues that are likely to emerge, similar to Todd Gurley's whenever you have disastrous knee injuries like Nick Chubb had in college, where his knee literally bent at a right angle the other way, forward. Ripped everything in his knee, but maybe his ACL, which we're not even sure of. Degenerative situation probably going on. The decline in Todd Gurley, number 1 running back in fantasy football. Boom! Dude fell off the face of the earth immediately. That could happen to Chubb. It may happen in 2024 though. So if I'm a fantasy football owner and I've got to spend a first rounder on Henry or on Chubb, I'm out. If I'm an NFL owner or a GM and I can acquire either one of these guys for my franchise,
detected at the backyard,
and I could do so for a second-round pick, I'm all in. And so when I say Nick Chubb's probably not getting traded, honestly, all it takes is a team to say we got to stop the Kansas City Chiefs. Derrick Henry gets traded to the Bills. Now you've got people in the AFC and the NFC saying, hey, we've got to come up with a solution to one-up that move, because now this tough team just got a whole lot better. What are we doing to improve? So Chubb could be on the move, sure. Do I think he gets moved? No, because why? Let me finally finalize it with this. Nick Chubb, the reason that the team would trade Nick Chubb is to alleviate some salary cap issues, right? That they have due to the Deshaun Watson debacle contract. But Deshaun Watson's been on record saying he will restructure his deal to help alleviate some of the cap concerns. That will alleviate the need to have to let Chubb go. And if we're being honest with ourselves, do the Browns have the talent to make the playoffs? They do. Are they putting it all together? No. And so from their perspective, and you can't blame them, the Browns probably think they can be a playoff team and a deep playoff contending team. Whether we believe that's going to all come together or not, it's a whole different story. But you can't blame them from saying, hey, we got Watson, we got Chubb, we got some talent on this team. I think we can turn it around and have a really surprising year. It's always possible. So I don't think they trade Chubb at the end of the day because I think they lose too much. It's kind of like if the Titans trade Derrick Henry away, if they acquire Lamar, what a backwards move. If they can't acquire Lamar and they're in full rebuild mode, they should trade Derrick Henry away. So situation matters. What's going on matters. All this is a lot of moving parts and directions that teams could go depending on what happens with this, or this. Hold on, Bruce. David, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show. David, what can I do for you, pal?
Smitty, I just want to call and tell you, man, you're looking swole, my guy. You're looking good. The guns are out. Sun's out. Guns out, baby.
Yeah.
I saw you at the gym the other day. I wasn't going to say anything. You was in the zone. You was killing it. Don't tell Mr. Smitty. I saw all the ladies looking at you. You're looking good, my guy. You're looking slim. I'm proud of you. Keep it up, though.
Hey, by the way, this is the gym he's referring to because I don't even leave the house. But yes, I don't know how many ladies are watching right now, but your boy Smitty's curling these things like they're nothing. And basically getting swole. I'm getting swole on the intermittent fasting thing, bro. And it's working great. It's working great. I can feel my stomach consuming itself for the 18 hours I'm not eating.
Hey, leave some ladies for the rest of us, Smitty. Okay, we do appreciate it.
I'll do what I can. Hide the ladies. Hide your girls.
The ladies.
David, what do you think about what's going on, bro? Tell me about Lamar. What do you think, David?
I mean, it's hard to say, man. Like I said, when I called in earlier last show, I was talking about the Panthers. I don't understand why Baltimore tagged them the way that they did. They could have got a lot more for him. Kind of everything that you've been saying, but I'm not quite sure anybody that's gonna be willing to pay that price necessarily what they're looking for. And like so many teams have been dropping out today. I don't know, man. It's hard to say where he's going to end up.
I will say that I'm a little shocked. I don't feel wrong yet, but could it go in a direction where I miscalculated what the market was going to be for Lamar? I think there's certainly the possibility of that, but I think we're really early in the game with a lot of these sources, per sources. And when Jeff Darlington, who I like and I trust and I don't trust based on the way he, I think a lot of these guys they want so badly to be talking heads and opinionated people, which is I understand because I'm a talking head and all I do is opinionated stuff. I'm not out there breaking the news first. I'm not sitting next to Geno Smith or have a person that's in the room with I'm not breaking that news. I am going to evaluate every single thing as fast as anybody else could. Sometimes, the news will break and there's somebody breaking it, but there's no one talking about it. My goal is to beat every single YouTube channel and source out there to the punch in terms of breaking it down. What's it mean? What are the ramifications? And what do I personally think about it? Because honestly, I'm a talking head and I'm an opinion person. So what's my take on it? But Darlington, he's reported things before where he's interjecting a lot of opinion, and I feel like he's not real clear on when it's opinion and when it's not opinion, or when his source is giving their opinion. And so when Darlington says that the Miami Dolphins are out, the Miami Dolphins can't even partake. They're forbidden from negotiating with Lamar Jackson because they don't have a first rounder in 2023. So if we're trusting a guy's tweet, and I misspeak all the time, I'm wrong all the time. So I might even be wrong in that Miami Dolphin thing. I'm almost positive I'm correct on the fact that the NFL rules are such that if you don't have a 2023 first and you don't have a 2020 first, you cannot even discuss or talk to or negotiate with Lamar Jackson right now. It's forbidden. It's not even like, oh, you can't really do. No, it's forbidden to. And so I think I'm right on that. But I could be wrong. I'm wrong on stuff all the time. But Darlington's job is differently than my job. And when he tweets out the Miami Dolphins are not interested in Lamar Jackson, it's irrelevant. So he's not even explaining that. So part of me is like, why would I trust that he knows what they want or the sources he's talking to are correct when he doesn't even know they can't even be in it?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't know.
Panthers fan, man. A lot of the people here have been saying, man, we want Lamar. Go get him. They get him and to go get him. And I get it. I would love to have Lamar. I feel like he could take us to the next level. But at the same time, as for the Panthers, I can't say for everybody else, but, we have to re-sign Brian Burns. That's coming up. That's going to be a nice little penny. I would almost rather us just go get a rookie quarterback with that cap hit.
Yeah, I firmly believe that we're going to hear. So going back to the teams that are supposedly out. These teams right here are supposedly out. The Carolina Panthers, the Raiders, the Miami Dolphins, who can't even partake, the Atlanta Falcons, the Washington football team and Commanders. Here's the thing. I firmly believe at least one of these teams that are so-called out will be right back in. They'll be right back in. Yeah. I don't buy it for a second that all these are out. I could be wrong. This is where my talking head opinionated, foot might get shoved in my own mouth. So be it. That's why I'm here. I try and be as accurate as I can, but sometimes I'm the other thing you got to keep in mind if you're watching me right now, especially if you're new, is I jump live before I even have time to digest anything. So sometimes my initial reactions, I waver a little bit later, or I start to think about something more. It's not like I've got a script or I've written my show out. I go live immediately. I haven't even thought about what I'm thinking yet. I just go live and I'm like, I'm live. Okay, what do I think? Let's see. No. Answer's no. And then I get out the live stream and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of thinking differently now. So I reserve the right to change my mind. and go in a different direction, adjust and adapt. But people need to understand where I'm coming from. I'm going live immediately. I've got no script. I never script anything out. I just go live, and sometimes I'm wrong, or sometimes I get a gut feeling on something, and it doesn't go the way I think it should. Or problem is a lot of times I try and use what I believe to be logic, and then a team does something like the Baltimore Ravens, and they non-exclusive tag Lamar. But maybe that proves to be smart. Maybe that's me putting my foot in my mouth, and the Baltimore Ravens end up getting no legitimate offers, or Lamar gets no legitimate offer sheets, doesn't sign it, goes back to Baltimore, plays on $32 million instead of $45, and the Baltimore Ravens look like geniuses. But the reason I don't think it's going to work out that way is because the Baltimore Ravens aren't geniuses, and they've literally destroyed Lamar Jackson the entire time he's been there. So part of me's like, even if they get this part right and they end up paying 32 over 45, way to go! You penny pinched, you brought Lamar back upset, and now you're not going to support him, and he's going to get hurt. So like at the end of the day, I don't know if I feel that if I end up being wrong on the context of the franchise tag and what they should have done and shouldn't have done. But I'm telling you right now, we're how many hours into this, bro? We are literally, less than 4, a little over 4 hours into the franchise tag window closing and Lamar Jackson getting slapped with the non-exclusive tag. We're less than 5 hours into it, and we're already being told that there's no market for him. That is ridiculous. Teams haven't had time to digest. Teams haven't even had time to digest that he's been slapped with the non-exclusive tag over the exclusive. Some teams were like, we can't get into the 3 draft pick and sign him to a $230 million guaranteed deal. We can't get in that game. These teams that were totally not even thinking they were in the game for Lamar now are being told, hey, it's a non-exclusive tag, kind of a shock. So they haven't had time to react. You tell me in 3 or 4 hours time, every team's had their spokesperson out there to give a full, accurate account of what the direction is of the team. Like, let's let it breathe a little bit before we start saying, oh, there's no market for him.
You know, Smitty, I think you hit it on the head earlier today, man, when you said all these GMs, they're not going to show their cards right now. This is going to be a long, drawn-out process. And then I think teams will come in at the end saying, okay, we'll give you this for Lamar. But, you know, it's going to come down to that timing and everything. GMs aren't going to show their cards right now. And if they know everybody's invested, then, they can just keep pricing up. But I'm like you, they could have got, these 2 first-round picks instead of now it could be any first-round picks.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I agree with you. I think I'd say the one thing I might have gotten wrong when Steven was coming in and Steven was just firing one after the other. I felt myself trying to argue with Steven. I was trying to argue with Steven even if I agree with him. I was just like, this guy coming in here controlling the show. Steven, dial in if you want. I love you, pal. But the one thing I will agree with on Steven, with what Steven said that maybe I wasn't agreeing with earlier, is that what you just said, this could take longer than I thought. And there's time. And I think that because teams aren't racing to it, that it might be a slower bidding war than I initially thought. I thought it was going to be, boom, we're going to be slapping offer sheets down. I'm baffled, to be honest with you. If I was a GM, I would jump all over the situation if I'm a team like Carolina with no quarterback. If I'm a team like the Bucs with no quarterback and I got 2 monster weapons on the outside that need a quarterback throwing them the football. If I was the Colts and I had the situation that we endured with Wentz and Matt Ryan, like, I'm baffled that these teams don't see a let's just call it $200 million guaranteed with different upfront incentives and potential long-term incentives, a very team-friendly deal that maybe gives him that $200 million guaranteed, maybe $100 million up front. Yeah. I fully expect if Danny Dimes gets $94 million guaranteed, virtually guaranteed, I could see Lamar getting like over $100 million guaranteed up front. If Derek Carr got, 60 or 70 million guaranteed up front, what was the number? I think it was...
I thought it was $100 million with $100
No, up front. What was the amount up front? It was like 60.
60 something.
I think it was 60 mil up front. So if Derek Carr can get 60 mil roughly up front, Lamar Jackson's get $100 million guaranteed up front, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I can't speak for other teams, Smitty, but I think from Carolina's point of view, there's 2 reasons. Number one is, like I said, they got some guys they're going to have to re-sign coming up. specifically Brian Burns. I think they want to bring him back. You know, we signed Lamar, Burns is gone. Number two is with Frank coming in as the head coach, I think he's going to want to draft his guy and kind of mold him to what suits him best and just kind of go that route.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Can you guys hold on one second? I got to answer a couple of these Instagram voicemails that people have dropped, and there's been so much breaking news. I haven't been able to hit them, so bear with me real quick as I answer some of these. So just hang tight. Let me switch over to, hold on. All right, so this is
I got two. Don't answer them.
Don't play yours?
Yeah, don't play mine because it was about the Chubb thing.
Okay. So this one's from, this is an earlier one from the Bruce. Oh, that one won't play. Sometimes Instagram does that. I'm sorry, Bruce. The other one won't play.
Oh, no. Mine are both about the Chubb thing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Tony, did I play Tony's?
Both.
Tony's won't play either. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see if I can go to the Instagram. Robert? Let me quit Instagram and go back in. Okay, so what do you guys think happens with Aaron Rodgers? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet? And does anybody feel like Bruce or David, do you guys feel like Lamar is a real shot, a real play for the Jets?
I think Lamar is the big play for the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers, even though he's meeting with the Jets, I don't think he's kind of like his own cat. He's kind of like, I do what I want, and I think he ends up staying in Green Bay.
He could.
I think that the Jets try to go after Rodgers first, and then if they can't get him, I think they go after Lamar.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, and I feel like what you mapped out earlier and what Steven had said earlier too, is that it could take longer. I didn't think that was the case, but now that we feel like it is less people in the game, it'll slow down. Similar to an auction draft in fantasy football, when there are 10 people bidding on somebody at the jump. So it's like Saquon Barkley, $20, and it goes 21, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and it's like really fast. That just feeds into it. It's just supply and demand, and everybody wants him. Oh, God, this guy's going to go for a lot. I'm going to get in. It's similar to that. If there are less players in the game from the jump, it's going to be a slower climb and bidding war. So I agree with that. I didn't think that was the way it's going to initially jump off. But, I mean, we're only 4 hours in. It could definitely change in a day. In 24 hours, maybe it is a huge bidding war, and everybody's wrong. All these sources about the Raiders being out. Why would the Raiders be out? Why would the Raiders be out? I don't trust the source that says the Raiders are out. Why would the Raiders be out? They got Devontae Adams that just franchise tagged Josh Jacobs. Why on earth would they be out without even discussing or slapping an offer sheet down, even if it was a low ball offer? That's crazy. That's I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
What do you think if Rodgers meets with the Jets, and this is hypothetical, and he says, yeah, I'll play for you, but I want more money?
I don't think he'll do that. I think the Jets would maybe consider it, but I don't think they'll do that. That would be crazy. Yeah. That would be something that maybe rocks the boat too much. Let me see if this message will play. God, none of the IG messages will play. Robert, yours won't play either. Oh, well. I'll have to get to my Instagram guys and get the questions. But
I heard the Raiders, and this is just a report, and I'm not the reporter, but they're enamored with Jimmy G because his best seasons were under McDaniel. That's what I heard on some reporter on ESPN. He says the Raiders are enamored with Jimmy G. They're going to go after him on the 15th or whatever because he had his best seasons under McDaniel.
Have him. I think the Raiders are most certainly. Yeah. Don Draper, I'm not sure if you're on the call or not yet. Don, are you there? Don, call in one more time. I don't know if it added you or hung up on you. But I think the Raiders and Jimmy G are inevitable. Ron had mentioned it earlier in the month or last month that he kind of thought that could be the case. And I'm in agreement now that the Raiders, and like you just said and mapped out, are inevitably on a collision course for being tied together and having a disaster of a situation unfold. But if the Raiders are out on Lamar, but again, the Raiders would be ridiculously stupid to be out on Lamar with all they've got tied up into Adams and now Jacobs. Just what a ridiculous way to throw away your potential pretty decent offensive season. Now defensively, probably why they don't go anywhere. Maybe they know that, but then why would you franchise tag Jacobs if you knew that? If you were like, okay, we screwed up. Derek Carr wasn't it, in their opinion, but we can't solve this problem. Why are you franchising Josh Jacobs? Doesn't matter. You know, they got to go for it. They got to go all in. If the Raiders got Lamar, there's a strong shot, because they don't have to surrender 2 first-rounders, they can still build the defense as best as they could around Lamar. Not to mention, at least the defense would practice against Lamar in practice. It all trickle back a little bit, cascade a little bit back, and make the defense a little bit better. But are they winning a Super Bowl? Probably not. But do they think they could? Probably. You know, I think anybody thinks they could win a Super Bowl. You talk to look at Steven. Yeah. Steven thinks his Baltimore Ravens are on a Super Bowl hunt without Lamar Jackson. They barely were on a Super Bowl hunt with Lamar Jackson. Without Lamar Jackson, they're going to be cellar dwellers. Steven, you heard me, Steven.
Yeah, he's putting his face in Huntley.
Yeah, I mean, I like Huntley. I do like Huntley, but
he's not Lamar. It's not.
He's got to prove himself, and I like Mike White, but he's also not Lamar or Derek Carr but I like the idea of Mike White in New York, and I kind of like the idea of Mike White in Carolina for some reason. I think that could be a really good spot for him. Maybe he won't ever be fantasy football good, but Mike White in Carolina, he could command that ship pretty well. And I think, you know, with DJ Moore, they bring in an RB with that top 10 pick. You know, you bring in Bijan. If Mike White was commanding signal caller.
All I wanted, Smitty, was in the draft Bijan at number 9, man. They're not going to do it, but that's all I've been doing.
Bro, can you imagine Bijan, DJ Moore, the line, the coaching staff, Mike White. And that coaching staff would coach Mike White well. So
I agree.
Sometimes I get ahead of myself, and I admit that, to where I think something's way more likely to happen because I'm using what I feel is the best course, and it never ends up happening that way. And I'm not saying I'm right or I'm some amazing magician. Like, I'm wrong a lot, but I feel like when I'm working through some of this, and you know, a lot of moving parts. Like, a lot of people say, Smitty, you called that wrong. He signed somewhere else. Like, all this stuff is so hard to predict. It's all domino effect too. If one guy goes one place, the whole board changes. You know, so it's like, it's not easy to predict. But sometimes I use logic, and I think a lot of people feel the same way about it. Like, Lamar to the Ravens. If all these other teams are out, and it's the Ravens or Tennessee, or, you know, you're looking at these options, the Ravens are stupid not to go get Lamar Jackson. It's their best shot. Maybe they don't succeed with it still, but it's their best shot. And they can still build around him. If you sign Lamar to like a 5 to 7 year deal, you have 5 to 7 years to make your defense better. You know, so it's like, it's not like just because you can't do it in year one, it's all for naught. But like, why the Raiders wouldn't go down this road is beyond me. So I don't buy into it. The Raiders, like, and another thing too, you know, when someone calls me up and they say, Smitty, this is the thing that makes me laugh more than anything. Hey, Smitty, it's Bob. I've been talking to the owner of the 1.1 in my rookie-only draft, the owner of the 1.2, and the owner of the 1.3. I drafted 1.4. They've all told me that they're drafting these three players, and so I should have these 2 players to choose from. It's like, bro, do you really think that the owners in front of you are going to tell you what they're going to do? Like, it's one of the most laughable conversations I have, and I have it over and over and over again with people. Let me answer this, David. When someone asks you, what are you going to do with the 1.2? Aren't you thinking of ways that you could maybe devalue the guy you want to slip to you? That's the way it works. You know, so like,
I'm going to lie to him.
Right. Nobody's going to tell. You're not going to know what three of your homies are doing at 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Yeah. Give me a break. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing anybody ever says to me. So my thinking here's the same thing. Hey, Las Vegas Raiders, you going after Lamar Jackson? Moments after he gets the non-exclusive tag and you dropped your jaw because you're so shocked that he got the non-exclusive tag. Now he's open season, and you're asked, are you going after him? No, be right back.
Hey, Smitty, you know what you should say to those people that call you and tell you that this one's drafting and told me they're going to draft this and this? You should reply to them with, let me introduce you to Smitty's promo code.
Yeah, here's the promo code. Or I could say this. I'd say, hey, you know what? All three of those guys just got on my text line as well, and they told me the same thing. They told me they know what you're doing.
Hey, you know another thing, Smitty, I was watching earlier, man. I was watching PTI earlier, and I did not know this, but Lamar does not have an agent.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. His mom and him are running the whole show.
Mom, that's right. Yeah. So I mean, that's gonna obviously that has to play something into it.
My son wants $300 million guaranteed.
Ma'am, that's not even.
And he wants it in 20s. He wants to take one of those Instagram photos where he lays on the pile of cash.
Ma'am, we can't do that.
And also,
that's the way the negotiation's going. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
He would like a billboard. He would like a billboard apology on every street sign for the next 10 miles outside of Baltimore. And also, I would like to return this year-old piece of meat that I got from the grocery store.
I don't know if you heard about my mom, but my mom returned a year-old piece of meat to the grocery store because she wouldn't let up on it. She wouldn't let. Moms are maybe the best agents. We make fun of it all the time, but maybe this is going to work out. We do make fun of it. I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's wise, but maybe somehow, some way, there's that whole like, and that could be part of why teams don't want to negotiate them. Maybe they're like, this unreasonable request. I don't know. Like, it's really ridiculous to not have an agent because they deal with this for a reason, and whatever he's saving in not having an agent, the acquiring team would easily pay that to make it a smooth process. Like, hey, what is it the agent going to get? Okay, let's add that to the deal, and that way you don't feel like you're just losing this amount. But we need to get an agent involved.
Yeah. Honestly, man, I think at the end of the day, I think between him and Baltimore, this whole situation has become so toxic. I don't think that he'll go back to Baltimore. I really don't. I think somebody at the end of the day, they'll come to some kind of agreement and he'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's
I'm in your boat.
It's a negative part of this process to be franchise tagged. It creates the animosity. It's coined the prison tag by the players for a reason, and at this point, it's like, it's going to be crazy if a team comes along and offers him a deal that's really low, and he accepts it because he wants to get out of there. The problem with that is then guess what? He's stuck in Baltimore forever. Because Baltimore on a bad contract.
You look at Baltimore, what do they have, man? What do they have? I mean, they're not winning anytime soon. All their running backs get hurt. They have Bateman as a receiver. I mean, come on now. Like, Mark Andrews is getting older. He's not at the top of his game anymore. Like, where are they going? I don't see him going anywhere.
No, I think they get rid of Lamar. They're not winning. They're a sub 500 team. It doesn't matter how good their defense is.
But I think even if they do keep him, like if I was Lamar, I'd be like, man, like, are we winning the Super Bowl? Are we even making the playoffs? Look at the players I really have around me. Like, what do I have to work with?
Daniel Jones, officially official, been tweeted out by, I think that was Rappaport. Franchise tag tracking, who got tagged? Let's pull this up, and we may have missed something that we needed to speak on the franchise tagging because we're focused so much on the Lamar.
Missed Barkley. He came in too late.
No, he. I was wondering, but he did get tagged. He got tagged with the non-exclusive franchise tag, which will pay him $10.09 million. Evan Ingram got the non-exclusive franchise tag. Again, anybody could take Evan Ingram. and Barkley. Essentially, Barkley could be had, but no one's going to give up 2 first-rounders for Barkley. He would be acquired for maybe a first-rounder given his how young he is, but no one's going to offer an offer sheet and, run the risk of having 2 first-rounders taken. Lamar, non-exclusive tag. Jacobs, non-exclusive tag. Let's see, Tony Pollard, non-exclusive tag. Will not be tagged. Orlando Brown, Gardner Johnson, Matt Gay, kicker for the Rams. Let's see, Draymond Jones from Denver. Jonathan Jones, cornerback for the Patriots. And that's all she wrote. So pretty much what we expected, minus that Lamar got the non-exclusive tag instead of the exclusive tag. It's crazy. Okay, let's see here. David, final thoughts. You got 20 seconds.
I hope the Panthers don't screw it up this year like they have every single other year.
Yeah. Good luck, pal. I hope you get
Yeah.
Lamar. I hope they change their mind and they want Lamar, or that it was
Man,
fake news.
I want Bijan, Smitty. I want to do like when I called you earlier. We're at the number 9 spot, man. I would love for us to move back to maybe 12, 13. Green Bay's right there, 14, 15. Maybe they want to move up with us and get a quarterback, especially if maybe Levis is really one left. Let's move back, draft Bijan, get a first round next year, and go all out for Caleb Williams. Get Caleb Williams and Bijan, and boom, you're set for years.
Yeah, that would be crazy, bro. Hey, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for staying on the phone so long.
Appreciate it, Smitty. You looking swole, dog. You looking swole, man.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the work.
Thank you. We're doing it live. Okay, we got Brucey. Brucey, last thing you want to say, bro, before I let you jump, Brucey?
Yeah, Smitty, you're 95% of the time right, and
I don't know about that.
So-
Appreciate it anyway.
and Lamar has to get done either in Baltimore, and they have to support him, or I'm surprised Atlanta don't want him because I want him in Atlanta like you.
Yeah, I'm hoping Atlanta. This is not accurate report. I'm really hoping that it's a non-accurate report. Brucey, anything else I can do for you, pal?
No, that's all, Smitty. Like I said, I asked about Chubb, and he did it, and all my other stuff. I'll see you.
All right. See you later, Bruce. Appreciate you.
Yep, see ya.
All right, I'm going to try and get to these Instagram messages one more time. I don't know if they're going to play. Let's see if they play. Sorry, guys, for those that left a message. This is Bruce's. He already said he left his. Tony's won't play. I don't know what's going on with Instagram. Let's see here. Robert's won't play. Robert's second one won't play. And then voicemail group number 2, or let's go to 1. Voicemail group number 2. Kevin?
What's this mean that not a Jake?
Kevin.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? Hey, what's this mean that not a Jacobs is getting franchise tag? I mean, they just gonna tag him and keep him, or are they planning on trading him? I think they're planning on trading.
I mean, it's an interesting concept to tag and trade him if, let's say, they don't land Lamar. They're supposedly out on Lamar. But if they don't land Lamar, they don't get a good quarterback. Maybe they are looking to franchise tag and trade him. But I don't know that there's a big trade market for him. You never know, like we talked about with Barkley earlier on the show. There's a chance that a team like the Bengals or the Bills or the Eagles want to make a splash, and maybe there's some sort of sign and trade type of thing. But we'll have to see, bro. It's certainly possible. I mean, that's what the tag's used for, sometimes to trade a player on the tag. But I would think no. I would think no. And hopefully the Raiders go after Lamar because I want him in a good spot. Appreciate you. So that was Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for dropping that message. And let me see if I can. So Kevin. Let me see if I can play this other one right now. If you guys want to leave messages on the daily, all you got to do is go to my Instagram, click the subscribe button. My Instagram is The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram, just like my YouTube handle. Go there, drop a message. or click the subscribe button and DM me in a DM and say, Smitty, add me to your group, and then you can just leave a voicemail anytime you want. Let's see if Roberts will play. I don't think Roberts' message is going to play. Gosh, dang it. I tried restarting my phone, but anyway. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate y'all. See you tonight. We're going live on Instagram. We're going live on YouTube to do live drafting. Promo code Smitty. Underdog will match up to $100 in your first deposit if you use promo code Smitty. We're going to be doing live drafts, live best ball drafts tonight, and we're going to see where some of these guys are going. Where's Olave going to go? Where's Derek Carr going to get drafted in a best ball draft? Let's do it live tonight. See you all back here at midnight, right around midnight to 12:30. Thanks for watching, and we'll be breaking more news. If more news breaks, I'll go live again. That's how we roll, because I go live whenever news breaks. Every single Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. I'm live. That's what this show is, and I'm live whenever news breaks. So subscribe on your way out. Hit that thumb up button on your way out the door. We'll see you later. Later, Space Ricky. Later, Jimmy. Later, Fritz. What's going on? Welby, appreciate you. Swaggy. D-Town, Lupo, appreciate you. Richard, appreciate you. Marquez, appreciate you, man. Kenneth Palmer, appreciate you. Is Lamar, and Daniel Jones is the Russell Wilson. Is he Kyler Murray? No, I don't know what's going on there. I'll come back to it. Casey, appreciate you. David, appreciate you. Ricardo, appreciate you. Swavey in the building. Swavey, you need to come back more often. Where you been? Lake Show, subscribe if you're new. Some of you guys I haven't seen before. Welby, make sure you subscribe if you're new. Swavey, where have you been? JCIM, appreciate you. Ron Navy dropping a $20 hauler. Where are you going so soon, says Ron Navy. We've been live for an hour and 40 minutes, but we'll be back tonight, Ron, to do drafting and talk about all this. Ron, appreciate you. Peace out, Ronnie. Oh, I got it. This is a $20 hauler. We got to take care of this man.
Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. Ron Navy making it rain in the studio. Appreciate Ron Navy dropping the wad. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
The tripod, also likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, are constructed using burrow or Hertz, Chase, or a JB Hull or Walker.
Did you want to say something to everybody? Yep. Okay. Okay. Did you want to say something about Joseph Burrow? Joe Burrow, ha ha ha. Say it again. Joe Burrow. Ha ha ha. All right, get out of here. All right, later, everybody. Appreciate you. Bye. Nope. Thank you, love.